The Rules and Regulations of Debating in Islam Part 1. Preface. Praise be to Allah, the Almighty. May His peace and blessings be upon His messenger, the noblest of His creation and His chosen one among His messengers, Muhammad, our master and our messenger. He sent him with truth, as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. He delivered the message, fulfilled the task assigned to him, and gave good advice to the Ummah, nation. He placed us on a clean and clear path, at night or day, it is the same, and no one deviates from it except the doomed. May Allah bless him, and may His grace and peace be upon the Prophet's kith and kin, and on his noble wives, the mothers of believers. Peace and blessings may be upon the Prophet's companions and all believers, until the day of judgment. Definition. The word debate, Arabic, high war or jidal, occurs in the Holy Quran as the following example shows. Indeed Allah has heard the statement of her, Qala bint Laba, that disputes with you, O Muhammad, concerning her husband, Aus bin As-Samit. And complains to Allah, and Allah hears the argument between you both. Verily, Allah is all-hearer, all-seer. 58 Quetzales 1. In conventional usage, a debate is a discussion between two or more parties aiming at modification of opinions, proof of an argument, demonstration of the truth, falsification of suspicions, and a refutation of unfounded statements and concepts. Some of the methods employed in debate are the laws of logic and the rules of syllogism such as cause and effect, as expounded in books on logic, theology, rules of research, polemics, and principles of jurisprudence. See Al-Zurqani, Sharh al-Mawahib, Vol V, p. 390. Objectives of debating. The main objectives of a debate are the substantiation of the truth, with proof and refutation of doubts and fallacious statements and propositions. It follows that debate should be held, with the sincere cooperation of the debaters, to unveil the truth and state this to one's partner correctly. A participant ought to work towards revealing to his partner what the latter fails to perceive, and to follow the correct methods of inference in order to arrive at truth. Al-Hafiz al-Dhahabi says, in this connection, a debate is only justified to unveil the truth, so that the more knowledgeable should impart knowledge to the less knowledgeable. To stimulate a weaker intellect. See Al-Jurjani, Tarifut, under Yadal, and Al-Misbah al-Munir, under High War and Yadal. These are the original objectives that are so clear and plain. Besides the main objectives, there are secondary or supportive objectives of debate. Some of these objectives are listed below. A general preliminary objective is getting acquainted with the other parties or parties' point of view. Reaching a compromise that satisfies all the parties concerned, for it is an important primary objective. Investigating, broad-mindedly, and bringing into play diverse approaches and conceptualizations, with a view of ensuring better and more feasible results, even for later debates. Differences among people is a fact. It is natural that differences will always exist among people, everywhere and at all times. There has always been diversity of color, language, customs, concepts, intellect, and degrees of knowledge. This is a sign of Allah's omnipotence, as the following verse from the Holy Quran states. And among His signs is this, the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the difference of your languages and colors, verily in that are signs for men of sound knowledge. 30 Quetzales 22. These external variations reflect internal variations, of opinions, attitudes, and objectives. This also is mentioned in several places in the Holy Quran. Here is an example. And if your Lord had so willed, He could surely have made mankind one ummah, nation or community, following one religion, i.e. Islam. But they will not cease to disagree except him on whom your Lord has bestowed His mercy, the follower of truth, Islamic monotheism, and for that did He create them. Q. (11 118-119). Al-Fakhr al-Razi comments saying, this verse indicates the diversity in people's creeds, moral standards, and behavior. I would like to elaborate the above verse by saying that had Allah so willed, all humans would have embraced one religion by instinct and original creation, Arabic, al-Fitra. But in this case, they would cease to be human in the way that we know them. Their social life would be something similar to that of bees or ants, and in spirit they would be like angels, who are disposed by their creation to embrace truth and obey all that they are commanded to by Allah. There would be no room for conflict or disagreement among them. But Allah, in His wisdom, has chosen to create humans otherwise. They have to acquire knowledge rather than have it as an inspired ability. They have the volition to choose what to do and to consider different possibilities of outcome. They are not predestined to behave in a fixed way. They vary widely in their abilities and capacity for acquiring knowledge and preferences. As for the phrase, and for this did he create them, in the above quoted verse, it may not be presumed to mean that Allah created humans so that they should disagree. It is known from other texts that Allah created humans to worship him. The meaning of the above phrase is rather that Allah created humans so that there would be among them a group of well-guided and a group of misguided. The former is destined to enter paradise and the latter is to be punished in hell. In addition, the following may be deduced from the same phrase. Allah created humans so that they would, because of their diversity in abilities and disposition, choose different professions, and this would make for stability in the world. It is through humans that Allah carries out his ordinances. Men employ other men to do work for them. See Rah al-Ma'ani, Vol 4, Chapter 12, p. 164, and Tafsir al-Qasamai, Vol 9, p. 182. There is in the creation of humans the propensity for variation in learning, viewpoints, and feelings. This in turn will lead to variation in willpower and preference. Faith, obedience, and disobedience are a part of this. Tafsir al-Mana, Vol 12, p. 194. The self-evidence of the truth. Having asserted that variation in people's intellects, conceptions, and propensity for conflict is a fact, it is important to add that Allah has highlighted the path of the truth with landmarks and signs. If we refer again to the above verse, if thy Lord had so willed, he could have made mankind one people, but they will not cease to dispute, except those on whom thy Lord has bestowed his mercy. We see that the last part refers to this reality. In another verse this point is more obvious. Allah by his leave guided those who believed to the truth of that wherein they differed. Q. 2:213. Free from the control of desires and whims, the soul of man will not fail to arrive at the truth, if man searches diligently for it. Man has been endowed, since his original creation, with a guide, within himself, to indicate the truth. This is the essence of the following verse from the Quran. So set you, O Muhammad, your face towards the religion of pure Islamic monotheism, Hanafa, worship none but Allah alone. Allah's fitrah, i.e. Allah's Islamic monotheism, with which he has created mankind. No change let there be in Kalkula, i.e. the religion of Allah, Islamic monotheism that is the straight religion, but most of men know not. 30 Quetzales 30. The following tradition of the prophets replicates the same point. Every newborn is endowed with fitrah, Islamic monotheism, original uncorrupted state. It is his parents who later make of him a Jew, Christian, or Magus, in the same way animals are born whole, with the noses intact, but it is humans who later cut their noses. The fundamentals of faith, the main virtues and the main vices, such as all sensible people would unanimously agree upon, are stated in the Quran in clear lucid language that leaves no room for dispute or misinterpretation. This part of the book is called the mother of the book, i.e., the foundation of the book, as it comprises all the rules, laws. No one may contradict such verses nor tamper with them to satisfy his whims or doubts. Nor may they be made the subject of arbitrary or unjustified interpretation, as we will mention about the essence of debate. But excluding the above category, scholars may disagree about any other points. It is not a sin to differ. A scholar will be rather rewarded in the hereafter when he errs in his judgment, and is even doubly rewarded when he is right. This is a great incentive for scholars to exert themselves and explain controversial issues with a view to revealing the truth and suggesting the best available course for the community. This is a manifestation of the great wisdom of the Lord. Points of agreement. Stressing the points of agreement at the beginning ensures a cordial and amicable debate. It will also be a more fruitful and focused debate. By stressing and dwelling on points of agreement, a debater will be more likely to find a common ground and a good starting point for fruitful interaction. A cordial start will bridge the gap and help the debaters to proceed in a positive conciliatory manner. It would otherwise be confronted debate if the debaters raised controversial issues at the outset. If they do, they will have left little chances for a successful debate. It will be a narrow and tense debate. The participants may be inattentive to each other's viewpoints, each looking for his chance to expose the other's slips or faults. Those who compete would become bitter rivals rather than reaching useful conclusions. An experienced debater says in this regard, make your partner answer in the affirmative and try to prevent him from saying no, as far as you can, because once he says no, his pride will impel him to adhere to his word. An answer of no is not just a monosyllable. The whole person's nerves, muscles, and glands will be primed for it. It is a concerted drive to renounce. In contrast, the word yes is soft and costs little. It does not tax the body with any exertion. Dr. Saleh al-Suhaimi, Tanbih al-Absar, adapted. It would be helpful, in this regard, to make the other party aware of your sharing some of his conceptions. By declaring your approval of and satisfaction with his correct ideas and sound information. It would be an excellent achievement to attain a level of objectivity and impartiality. Some of our scholars have observed that ignorance is mainly exhibited in denial and renunciation, rather than in affirmation. It is easier for a person to be on firm ground about what he asserts, rather than about what he denies. Therefore, disputes that bring about dogmatic attitudes are usually the result of being right about what one asserts but wrong about what one denies. Principles of Debate, p. 46. Principles of Debating. Principle 1. By adhering to scientific methods. Two of these methods are as follows. Presenting evidence to prove or support a claim. Observing accuracy while referring to authority. The above two methods have been neatly expressed by Muslim scholars in an aphorism: if quoting, maintain accuracy; if claiming, provide proof. The above rules may be supported with some verses from the Holy Quran. Say, O Muhammad, produce your proof if you are truthful. Q. 2:111. Say, bring your proof. This, the Quran, is the reminder for those with me and the reminder for those before me. Q. 21:24. Say, O Muhammad, bring here the Torah, and recite it, if you are truthful. Q. 393. Principle 2. Freedom from contradiction in the debater's statement and proofs. Evidently, contradiction invalidates statements. Let us give two examples to illustrate this point. 1. Like other disbelievers, Pharaoh charged Prophet Moses, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, with being a magician or madman. Disbelievers contemporary with Prophet Muhammad said the same of him. However, magic and madness are incompatible, as a magician is known for cleverness, wit and cunning, which is quite the opposite for a madman. This shows the absurdity of their charge. 2. The disbelieving Quraysh charged the Prophet with supporting his claim with continuous magic. Allah said, and if they see a sign, they turn away, and say, this is continuous magic. Q. 54:2. This charge is, however, an obvious contradiction. Magic cannot be continuous, and what is continuous cannot be magic. Principle 3. A proof should not be a repetition of a claim. If it is so, it will not be a proof at all, but a reiteration of a claim in different words. Some debaters are skilled at manipulating language so that what they say would seem to be a proof, but it is not more than restating the first assumption. It is a deviation from an honest and straightforward discussion towards finding the truth. Principle 4. Agreeing on indisputable and fixed basic issues. Such points can refer to a priority, intellectual concepts which are not contested by honest thinking persons. Such as the goodness of truthfulness, the badness of lying, thanking a good doer and punishing an evildoer. On the other hand, the basic issues can be religious concepts, which are common to the debaters. By having solid, given, issues as a reference, it would be possible to discriminate between a truth seeker and another who is only disputing for the sake of dispute. In Islam, for instance, such matters as belief in the oneness of Allah, his attributes of perfection and freedom from imperfection, the prophethood of Muhammad, the Holy Quran as the word of Allah, surrender to Allah's judgment. Such ordinances as the proper dress for Muslim women, polygamy, prohibition of usury, alcoholic drinks, and adultery, are all matters of certainty, and so may not be taken as dispute subjects for the believers. Surrender to Allah's judgment, for instance, is known to be part of the creed by such verses of the Quran, as the following. But no, by your Lord, they can have no faith, until they make you, O Muhammad, judge in all disputes between them. Q. 4:65. And whosoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, then, such, people, are the fasiqun, the rebellious i.e. disobedient, of a lesser degree to Allah. 5 Quetzales 47. Similarly, proper dress for a Muslim woman is also categorically enjoined by such verses as, O Prophet, tell your wives and daughters, and the women of the believers to draw their cloaks, veils, all over their bodies. 33:59. It would be legitimate to lay down, for discussion, such details as the use of the veil for the face, but the principle of proper dress, itself, is mandatory. The same may be said of usury, which has been prohibited in unequivocal terms. On the other hand, debates may be held concerning its details and practical examples used. In view of the above, it would be a mistake on the part of a Muslim to have a debate with a communist or atheist about matters of the Islamic creed, such as the ones given above, as the other party does not accept the Islamic truths, to begin with. The right starting points would be the principal religion, the godhood and lordship of Allah, the prophethood of Muhammad and the truthfulness of the Holy Quran. Therefore, we say it is a mistake on the part of some intellectuals and writers to raise issues like the application of the Sharia, a Muslim woman's proper dress, polygamy and similar topics, in the mass media, in articles and seminars, with a view to proving the legitimacy of such legislation. It would not be wrong, on the other hand, if the purpose of raising such topics was to reflect on the wisdom and goodness of this legislation. The distinction between the two purposes is supported by the following verse. It is not for a believer, man or woman, when Allah and His Messenger have decreed a matter that they should have any option in their decision. 33-36. The final point to understand about this principle is that sincere search for the truth is incompatible with the denial of established facts and prior truths.